We are seeing social media lighting up with talk about Xavi's future. It looked as though Xavi was going to stick around after all, but now there are some reports saying that Joan Laporta and the board are not too happy with Xavi for some recent comments made. What more can you tell us?
Hola, hola, Kay. Yes, of course, there is no game quiet in this club, and we were all kind of expecting this kind of rumors, this kind of debate, talking about Xavi, but maybe not too soon. So what happened is Xavi convinced President Joan Laporta with a very powerful speech saying that he felt strong enough, that he thought that with this team, with these youngsters, he felt strong to lead this team for the next season. But yesterday in the press conference, his speech was very much different. He was a lot realistic, telling that the culés, the Barcelona supporters, must think that this team is worse, the situation is worse than 25 years ago when the manager was able to say, I want this player, I want to do this. Now this is not possible. And he made a very similar speech that the one that Ronald Koeman made in his final days as a Barcelona manager, being quite pessimistic, saying that maybe they need to be very patient, saying something like, okay, we need patience, we are not going to be competing for everything. So that was the speech. It was quite surprising for all of us, especially because Girona have lost. Barcelona have a perfect chance today to virtually secure the second spot. And today what happened is that President Joan Laporta is not here. He used to go to all the trips with Barca. When we asked this reason, they said to us that the reason is agenda. But our colleagues in Catalunya Radio, who have very close sources, they have started explaining that the reason is that the president is very upset. We know that Xavi has some people in the board of members that didn't want him to continue. It was a decision, a personal decision of Joan Laporta to continue him next season. And these rumors say that he's very much upset. We of course ask the people that are here, of the members that are here with the expedition of Barcelona. They said that there's not going to be any kind of press release, that they are focused with the team, with the game, that this is very important, 3 points to secure that second spot, and they are not going to say anything. Actually, Xavi himself have just speak with our colleagues of the main broadcaster in Spain, Movistar. He said absolutely anything regarding that matter. He only spoke about the game, and we will have to wait until the end of the match to see if there is some kind of official communication, or to wait for Xavi's explanation, of course, Kay.
So he's just spoken ahead of the game and he's not mentioned anything to do with this. Are you surprised to see these reports today, Ale?
I'll answer your question by asking a question. Have the financial situation and struggles of Barcelona improved overnight? No, right? So if their financial reality is still the same today as it was yesterday and a month ago, and part of those financial realities are the ones that had Barcelona with their hands tied and forced them to say, you know what, Xavi, I think you were the right decision to begin with. Come on back, because we cannot afford to go get another manager, and we don't really think that Rafa Marquez is the answer. And so, therefore, if I were a cynic, I'm not a cynic, but if I were a cynic, I would say those financial restrictions that Barcelona has right now are the ones that kept Xavi in place to begin with. And if those haven't changed, then all of this is posturing. Xavi's not going anywhere.
Okay, and obviously, when you talk about the future, Luis Garcia of Barcelona, it has been seen that Xavi is a good fit to continue there with the young players that are coming through here.
Yes, Kay. When we thought that Barcelona will have a very nice and easy game against Almeria, here we are talking about no other than things that are happening and rumors are happening around. I think that right now the team is in transition, and that's something that everybody can see. When you have in your 11 starter 4 or 5 players that they are under 22, under 21, under 20, I think that we can call that this is a transition period for Barcelona. And Xavi is trying to be realistic, because what matters right now is, yes, to fix the second position, but also what is going to happen in the summer transfer. I'm sure that in the conversation that they had not long ago, just to keep Xavi at the club, Over there, they have been talking about, okay, for the future, we are going to do this. We are going to try to bring these kind of players. But Ali is mentioning is fantastic. Is the club has improved in an economical situation? Not at all. So it's totally true. It's realistic. We cannot buy the big players. We cannot go and try to bring 5 players for next season. So now we are in transition period with young players where I know them. I brought the best of them. I think that I can continue working with them and be competitive. And if I haven't read wrong, that's what he wants to do. Maybe we don't have the strongest as 25 years back, but we can compete against Real Madrid.
Why is it such a problem if he is just stating the obvious here then, Gemma? If he is just sending out a realistic message, is it the timing of the message that has upset them?
Yeah, well, I think it's because of the president himself. They want to send a different message. They want to try to be more optimistic because they think that this is the right way to have the fan base happy, to bring them back to Montjuic. It's been a tough season with Barcelona playing away from the Camp Nou, and they don't like this kind of realistic conformism message. If you ask my opinion, I think this is one of the mistakes of this season, the expectations, saying that this team can compete against all the powerful teams in Europe, against Real Madrid, and now that we are assuming that Kylian Mbappé will be leading at Real Madrid next season, I think this kind of message, and there's been some trouble as well in Barcelona. There is a quiet week, as I was mentioning, regarding some money of the investors. I think it's a way as well to put that rumor or that criticism regarding the economic situation of Barcelona as well, putting the focus on Xavi, on the manager. So I think it's a mix of two things, but this we will be talking if Xavi keeps on being the manager on the bench, being the manager of Barcelona. Okay, I'm sure you and me we will be many times before a game talking about that, because with this squad and with the Barcelona's economic situation, I mean, this team in the last year, they talk about signing Haaland, Mbappé, Bernardo Silva. The only thing they could do last season was to sign Oriol Romeu. It's true that they managed to get Joao Felix and Cancelo on a loan, but they cannot sign. It is impossible that this club can compete with PSG, with Man City, with Real Madrid. There's no way. So for me, this is one of the mistakes, the expectations that the fan base thought that they will compete for absolutely everything, and they couldn't, especially because also there was another request from the club, and this was Xavi play better, because last season they managed to win La Liga, but with a kind of football, but it's not what the Barcelona fans want to see. So Xavi did his best to try to play better, and they were much more vulnerable, less solid in defense. So I think we're going to be talking about this Xavi situation many times, unless these rumors are true, and because they say he might be sacked. In my opinion, this is difficult, but this is a very difficult club to predict, because if we can define by a name the leadership of Joan Laporta, I think this is improvisation.
Luis, you were nodding along with what Gemma was saying at the beginning there, because I suppose you can't pretend that it's something else, the situation at Barcelona right now.
Yeah, you can send as many messages as you want to the crowd, but the crowd is going to buy it once. It's going to buy it twice, but not the third time. And if you are trying to send a message that we are going to be the best one, we are going to compete for every single competition next year, after a month or after 2 months, they are going to realize that that's not true. That's not that was a lie. And then we are going to be in the situation that Barcelona was in the beginning of the season. Who is going to be the one against who the people is going to point? Against the manager. That has been the one who has been sending the messages that we are going to compete at everything. So I think that Xavi, after realizing that the situation is like this, is looking forward to what is going to happen next season. And he's going to try to say, yes, we can compete. We are going to be competitive, but we cannot buy the top players. We are not going to be probably winning every single trophy. We're not going to compete. So that means that we leave the door open. But what I'm not going to do is lie about that we are going to be a team who he's going to play well, who is going to compete every single weekend, who is going to compete for 3-4 trophies, and he's going to win it. So he's trying to keep it low. He's going to try to bring a little bit of realism to the supporter, that I think that for them is going to be also very good. Every single club is in transition at some point, and I think that people need to understand that the club situation last year was kind of a miracle to win La Liga and to win a cup, and this season is going down to earth. Put your feet down to earth and see what is really in front of you, and then start building from there. But start building from a message that is not realistic enough, I think is not the best way to build a stronger Barcelona for the future.
Very quickly, my message to John Laporta would be, if indeed he's trying to keep the fans happy, do you think they're not watching the team play? Do you think they come to the stadium and they just close their eyes? Do you think they wear blinders while the game is going on? They know what's in front of them. So you can paint this however you want to paint it, and you want to be as optimistic as you could possibly be. But the performances are out there, and the mistakes are out there. And the fact that you've lost this league a long time ago gives you a clear idea as to where this team is and where this club is going. And so, look, we can be as optimistic as we want to, but the reality is what shows up on the field. And what shows up on the field is a team that has many inconsistencies.